I think what you were asking earlier on that breakdown of that that knowledge of living off the land, how to take care of yourself, basically. I think that's not just our people. I think that our people are just one of the last ones to hold on to that, because that's the way we are. That's in our nature. It's the way we are as people. But I think the big part of it that's causing the breakdown in that is that our society as a whole has become immediate gratification. You know, there's no more landlines. I mean, a house phone is pretty much obsolete. And some friends and I were sitting there, you know, I just learned how to use this, you know, but that quick, how hard it was for me to imagine life without it. You know, going down the road to say I'm on my way, or I'll be there in 15 minutes, get this ready, get that ready, what have you, and how immediate gratification has become such a big part of our lives that even school has become a pain in the ass, because 13 years of school, oh my God, that's what I'm going through with all our boys, you know, that, you know, it's 9 more months, that's it, but to them that seems so long, and they want it done now. Now our society has become such a immediate gratification society that it's so much easier to go to the grocery store, spend half an hour to drive to town, 5 minutes in the grocery store, and half an hour back, and within an hour and a half you can fry up a burger. Whereas now, even that has changed to, well, shoot, it's cheaper to drive the half hour to town, and faster to take a left turn and go to McDonald's and spend $1 and get the dollar burger and then come home. And it's even, you know, so to where that's not even, now the whole, to go out in the bush and sit, to go out in the bush and track a deer, to skin that deer, to freeze that deer, to grind that deer up, and the immediate gratification isn't there, but the gratification of doing that is so much greater. And that's the thing that's really been lost, I think, in causing the breakdown of that, is that the immediate gratification isn't there. And that goes back to, you know, I mean, he will, without a doubt, he'll be a hunter, you know, without a doubt. And that's just because that's the way I was raised. My brothers hunt, you know, his uncles hunt, and, you know, none of his brothers do. I don't know. They know how to use a gun, but they don't know how to hunt, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. They hunt with pistols.
Yeah, you can't hunt a deer with a pistol. Well, you could, but... So I think that's the big part of it that happened there, is the immediate gratification isn't there. And our society has become so... Life is about... Society has developed itself into what's easiest and not what's more prideful to you and yours. When we were growing up, we knew everything we did reflected my grandma, my grandpa, my deceased relatives, you know, my brothers, my sisters, you know, that someday, you know, somebody's going to talk to my son about me. We knew that, you know, walking down the streets of Cass Lake. If we saw somebody and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're darn right there. I say, Michael Dahl, what are you doing on the street at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, you better get home and tell your mother before I do. You know, why aren't you in school? That was there, to where now that too, our society has become, this is my child, you know, and that's hard for me because
except if it's Guillermo. No,
yeah, well, even that, you know, I mean, it's really hard for me. Yeah, he's a complete stranger, but shoot, let him go. You know, here, you guys mind what you got to do. I'll take him, whatever. You know, it's just in our nature to smack somebody else's kid, you know, or to reward somebody else's kid, or, you know, I mean, all the neighborhood kids walk by and they know every once in a while I'll have even bacon. I mean, I've had them come and say, Mike, you got any bacon? Yeah, actually I do. You got any candy? You got pop? You got an icy? You got any fruit? Yeah. Can we pick your apples? Yeah. And that's just in our nature to be that way, and that's getting lost. That's getting lost to where, you know, when the kids are walking down the street, I would hope that if he's ever walking down the street at 10 years old, that one of my neighbors is going to say, Wabano, what are you doing? You know, where are you going? Get home. It's dark. I know your dad doesn't like you out after dark. And I think that poverty is such a vague issue, or not a vague issue, but a broad issue, that it's a state of mind. And honestly, I don't really mind. Sometimes I don't mind being stable, just stable. If I could just be stable. You know, like yesterday, I had to go all the way to Bemidji to borrow my brother's car because we had 2 funerals here. You know, and 1 car family, it's just too hard. She goes that way, I gotta go this way. So I borrowed my brother's car. Well, then all of a sudden it's a pain in the ass to get the car back over there. Well, who do we borrow from to get over there? And then if we borrow from them, are we gonna be able to pay them back? You know, I mean, I think her and I, in the 7 years I've been here, have had this rotating $20 bill. And it's just been, you know, it's just been going back and forth to where, and that's, you know, where if I could just be stable, just to be able to say, you know what, hey, guess what? We have 20 extra bucks and we have half a tank of gas. Let's go visit Sandy. You know, let's go get a thing of donuts and some coffee and a 12-pack of pop. Let's go over to Sandy's and sit on the lake. Let's go do that. And that's, I think, would be the greatest goal. And then once people have that stability and that pride in what they've achieved, you know, like this house here, you know, it's the fruit of my efforts. It really is. You know, I don't own it, you know, but I worked hard for this house. I really, really did. I put in years and years of work for this house. And that in itself, just to show my sons, my family, my people, you know, especially because now that would step into the spiritual and cultural realm of us. I work for our people. That's my job. And from that, I got this house. You know, from doing the work that I do.
To say the work he does for tobacco.
Yeah.
He's paid in money. He helps a lot of people here. He does everything from life to death, ceremonial, and never takes a dime for it. He gets paid in tobacco. So
Yeah.
people should understand the difference in what that means for him to dedicate his life's work for something he'll never be paid for.
See, yeah, and that's where, you know, where for me poverty is really, it's in our teachings. Him and I have talked about that a lot, about what do we call it, pity, pitiful.
It's a certain kind of
it's a certain
poverty
way.
is a value in
Yeah.
our culture.
And it's not
Not
really,
the English
yeah,
version.
it doesn't translate right. In what it is that I believe with all of my heart. Like yesterday, I had somebody come over here for a name, and then we had a feast for that drum up there on the shelf, and then I had somebody else come over here about 10 o'clock for some other stuff. And each time it was a pinch of tobacco. Now, my belief in that tobacco and belief in what I do, I know it works. I've never gone without. You know, I've not been able to go to town when I wanted to. I haven't been able to go to a casino on double point day. You know, I haven't been able to do those things, but I've never been without food, without coffee, and without cigarettes. I've never been without those 3, and toilet paper. The priorities of life. You know, and that I know that's what's going to happen. You know, I know that, and that in itself, you know, and teaching our kids that, you know, that's all part of it. It's all in tune. You can't have that stability if all 4 parts of your being aren't stable. You have to be mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually stable. If one of them is off, your whole being is off. And that, I believe, is another part of the breakdown. That's why I say it's such a deep, broad issue that to attack poverty in itself is very broad, very, very broad. It's a broad spectrum because it's a state of